Hello folks, I'm Dean with Dean's Woodworking. Welcome to the shop. Y'all come on in and make yourself comfortable. Recently, a friend of mine asked me, can you turn a hummingbird house? Well, sure I can turn a hummingbird house. So I started doing a little research because, you want to make sure the entry hole is the right size and it's the right size inside and out. And I came to find out that hummingbirds don't nest in cavities or houses. However, there's a whole bunch of folks out there making hummingbird houses. So my disclaimer is, I'm going to make a hummingbird house. The chances of a hummingbird taking up residence in this house, from what I understand and what my research tells me, is about 0. Okay, so we're going to call this an ornamental hummingbird house because I don't think hummingbirds are ever going to live in it. But let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my respirator. That way I'm not breathing the dust of this because this is dry wood. And let's get started. This is a new respirator. This is absolutely the first video I've done with it. Hopefully the audio comes out a whole lot better with this one. You folks leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the audio. Is it better or not so much? Let me know. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so chucked up on the lathe here, I've got a piece of spalted hackberry. We drilled a 3/4 inch hole. That will be the entry hole for the hummingbird. We've got a piece of Baduke here. We're going to use that for the top. We'll start off with a 3/4 roughing gouge here. Okay, once we have it round, then we'll go ahead and come in and we're going to put a tenon on this end so we can put it in the chuck. I'm going to go ahead and cut off just a little bit of this end just to square it up. I'm going to make a cut right there and we'll just do a peeling cut. Let's check our size here. That's about how big we want to put it in the chuck. Okay, we're good there. And what we're doing here is we're just doing a peeling cut to get it down to the size that we want the tenon to be. Come in and make one more cut so we make sure that that is square going into that tenon. And we're good, we're ready to put that one in the chuck. We'll go ahead and take it out from between centers and we're going to put our piece of Baduke between centers. And basically what we're going to do here is we're going to try and accomplish the same thing. We're just going to get it round and we're going to get it to where we can put it in a chuck. Hopefully the audio is better with this hood on than what it has been with the others. If you don't mind, leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the audio on this one. Is it better, worse, not worth the effort? Let me know. So now that we've got that done, we'll take our center drive out and go ahead and put our chuck in. Okay, we've got our chuck in, so we'll go ahead and put the body of our birdhouse in the chuck. And we're just going to go ahead and take an opportunity to mark where this #1 chuck jaw is. That way, if we decide to take it out and put it back in, we're able to do that. And if you've got it marked, you can be fairly successful in doing that. And go ahead and put an 1.5 inch Forstner bit in. I'm going to turn our speed way down, and we're just going to start very slow. Always kind of hold that Forstner bit. So the only thing that's holding it in there is that Morris taper. The last thing you want is that thing start to spin on you. Come out of there. We're just going real slow and letting this thing cut easy. The shavings are coming out of there real well. It's not building up. So it's not really a problem. And we're going to drill this out to the depth of the drill bit. So right there, we're good. So let me show you what we did. So we drilled to the depth of the drill bit. So that's how deep we are right there. We'll go ahead and take our pencil right now and we'll mark that depth. So that's the depth of our house. Now that doesn't mean that's the bottom of our house. That's the depth inside. We're going to come in here for just a second. Not going to spend a whole lot of time with this, but we're going to sand the inside of that just a little bit with 80 grit. Give us just a little bit of taper right there at the top. That way if any of your turning friends put their hand inside that hole, they can see you sanded it. That's probably the only person that'll put their hand in there to see if you sanded it, but you can count on your wood turning buddies. They won't let you down. Okay, so we still have just a little bit of a flat spot there. We're going to come in with our skew. We're going to take out that flat spot and we're going to put just a little bit of shape right out here, okay? Right now, those walls are about 1/4 inch thick, so we've got a little bit of wood to work with. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get our lid fitted on here, and then we'll put this whole thing between centers. Remember, we marked where this #1 jaw was, so we should be able to put it right back where it was. Now, the one thing I want to do on this is I want to fit that inside this one here. So again, we're going to come across, make sure that's straight across there, and then we're just going to check. Okay, so we can go in about another 1/8 of an inch. Again, we'll take this step by step. Always going in a little less than what we think we can. Probably about another 1/16. Okay, we are just a little big. So what we're going to do there is we're just going to come in and we're going to taper that off. At this point, take little bitty cuts, and because this wood is dry, you want to be very careful forcing that on there. With green wood, you can get away with a lot of that. Okay, we have a perfect fit there. So we'll go ahead and glue this together, put it back in center, between centers, or pull the tailstock back in, I should say, and finish turning it. So we don't want a lot of glue on this, but we are going to come in and do just a little bit all the way around. If we get a little squeeze out, it's not going to make that much difference. And we're going to put that right up on there. Take our tailstock, and our tailstock will be our clamp to just seat that right up on there. Folks, we're going to let that set for about 15 minutes, and we'll come out and finish turning this. While I'm waiting for the glue to set, if you guys like what you're seeing, go down and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to reach more folks. Give me a thumbs up, and obviously I love the comments. And one comment I'd really like to see, is the audio better or worse than on past videos? I basically just put together a air supply with a HEPA filter using this 3M hood. I'd like to get a little bit of feedback on how it sounds. And there will be a video coming out probably the end of next week on exactly how I put that system together, okay? Thanks, folks. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, folks, the glue's had about 20 minutes to set up, so we're gonna go ahead and finish this thing up. Sure, we're okay. We'll go ahead and start off. We're gonna go ahead and bring our speed on up. We've got a 3/8 spindle gouge here. What we're going to do is just put a little bit of a curve over on our roof, and we're going to bring that in just a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and bring our roof down a little bit. And then we're going to come on down here and we're going to work on this down here. Now we'll do a couple of peeling cuts and go ahead and bring this on down. Again, do a few more peeling cuts, bring it way on down. And I think before we go a whole lot further, we're going to drill a hole for our peg here. Okay, so what we did is we drilled a hole right there. That hole will be to hold our perch, and we'll set that in there and glue that in once we finish sanding everything here. We're going to come on in and put a little bead down here on the bottom of this, and we're going to finish off this top here. Okay, we'll go ahead and sand those little beads real quick, and that's gonna, once we get those sanded, we'll part that off there. We're ready to come in and part this off here. Now let's work on our top here just a little bit. We're going to come in with our thin parting tool here, and basically all we're doing is just giving ourselves a little bit of room. We're going to stop right here for just a minute. I'm going to grab some glue. We're going to glue this in. I'm going to grab some antique oil finish, and we're going to finish this thing up. Let's see, I need to make sure I'm not getting red off my hand. Here, let's take the air hose and just kind of blow this off real quick. A little dab of glue right here on the end. And we're going to put that right in there. There we go. We'll call that good. Cloth and kind of wipe around that right there real good. And let me grab my antique oil and we'll put some finish on this thing. So we're going to put a little antique oil on this. This should bring out the color, especially up here on the roof. So we're going to use our little pull saw, and we're just going to cut that end off there. And it is off. We'll touch that up with a sander. The antique oil is really soaking into this end grain of this spalted wood here. We're going to take our time and make sure we have plenty of oil on this so we get a good finish, okay? Okay folks, so we've given this plenty of time to soak into the wood. We've put on several coats. I'm going to wipe off the final coat. So all I'm going to do at this point is just come in here with a shop rag. We're going to wipe off the excess. A lot of times I will turn the lathe on to do this portion, but that little rest might not work well if we turn the lathe on for this. We will manage it by hand. Now we can continue to put more coats on, obviously, after we take it off the lathe, which is what we're going to do right now, is take it off the lathe, and we're just going to take our little pull saw. You guys have seen me do this numerous times where I'll just take my sander and just barely hit it. That's all it takes. Same thing with the bottom. You can go in and touch it up with just a little bit of that antique oil so it blends it into the rest of the top, and the same thing with the bottom. And then we'll take and wipe it off of both. Now one of the things we're going to do, and we're going to drill a hole right in the middle. And that hole is so that we can put this little eye in here to hang it with. I usually drill that hole just deep enough to get it good and started, and then let it go ahead and dig into the wood. And we'll just take this little drill bit here and use it to go ahead and tighten that right on down. Normally, I recommend the eye going right along towards the front, and that way if you have a hook come in and it hangs on a limb or something, it's facing straight out. Folks, this is our hummingbird house. Whether or not a hummingbird actually lives in it ever, I seriously doubt it. It seems like they're pretty popular, and like I said, a friend asked me, said, can you make one of these? Well, absolutely we can make one of those. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and happy turning.